Hello, everybody, and welcome to ATL Falcons UK podcast. We've got a special treat this week. We've got Atlanta reporter Miles Garrett joining us again this week to talk some Falcons on this second week in a row victory show after this week's hard-fought win against the Browns. We'll talk a little bit about the Browns game, but obviously we've got some talking points off the post from this week, which we want to get into. So that's all stuff that you guys have sent to us about what you want us to talk about, and then we'll get into our upcoming game, which is the battle of the top two teams of the NFC South this week.
Wow,
the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm going to start us off. Boys, how are we feeling after this week?
Fresh as a daisy. It's becoming a very nice habit, this winning, Lark. We're not used to it. I don't think I've seen 2 wins on the bounce since I started supporting the Falcons, so it's a nice change.
Don't be so dramatic. Don't be so dramatic. Liam, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think similar to the sort of words I used for the last game, it was gritty, which is good. We've never been. I don't think I remember the last time we were a gritty team that pulled out results. Tight games. We were usually the ones that on the receiving end. So yeah, very positive to see us actually having a bit of attitude and a bit of toughness to the team, a bit of resilience.
Yeah,
it's good.
Carl, how are you feeling?
Great, another 2 wins in a row. I think it's first time in Smith's. Obviously, I know he's in his second season, but positives from there. Another gritty win, another hard-fought win, and some passion again, and then some fight that we've not seen. Like this season, the fight has been similar to none, basically. So, all happy from here with 2-2.
Good stuff. And Miles, how are things in the ATL?
Oh man, the mood is great. The Atlanta Braves are about to clinch the division. The Atlanta Falcons are tied for first place. It's a good time for sports in this city. But as you guys are saying, it's really cool to see that fight, especially 2 weeks in a row. The game ended almost exactly the same as the Seattle game, where defense has to make a stop to end the game. Grady Jarrett gets a huge sack, just as he did against Seattle, and unlikely star seals the game with an interception. Last week it was Richie Grant. This week it was D. Alford, this former CFL star. So it's really cool to see some of those new guys start to get involved early, and things are looking up. Huge game this Sunday.
Yeah, I think you guys have kind of summed up that game. I think I'm gonna start us off with a talking point, because I think, and I'm not gonna go in with the obvious talking point. I think what I want to talk about first, and it's the first time I've seen it personally as a Falcons fan, and I think me and Liam have probably been following it the longest, but we've got a run game now, and not only have we got a run game, we've got a run game where we have the ability to run 14 run plays in a row. And, we came into this game against the team with probably the best sort of 2-punch running back combination in the NFL with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And out of nowhere, and obviously, CP is just does what he does. But we actually seen some of the newer guys come out of nowhere with Huntley and Algier, and I'm gonna go to Miles, because obviously I know Miles, we've only got you for a limited amount of time. But what's your thoughts on suddenly the Falcons being having a run game?
Yeah, no, it's huge. I mean, it's really what Arthur Smith's offense is designed to originate from, really. I mean, you saw what he came from in Tennessee. Obviously, the Falcons don't have a Derrick Henry on their team, but that's what made his offense so successful, is it's built from the play action. It's built from the run game. It's built from establishing that first. But as you said, it's not just been the running backs. The offensive line has performed night and day better than what they did last season. And, you see guys like Caleb McGarry in one of those contract type years where he has to perform, and he's been performing. He's starting to finally play like a first round pick. And, Chris Lindstrom, Jake Matthews doing their thing. I think there's been some question marks still at center with Drew Dahlman. But at the same time, you hit the nail right in the head. Caleb Huntley, Tyler Algier, and even Avery Williams, the former cornerback, had a big run there as well at running back. And with CP being out now on injured reserve for the next few weeks, those guys are definitely going to have their time to shine, especially Tyler Algier. This was a guy I said preseason I wouldn't have been surprised to see him as the starter before the season was up. But we'll see. The running game has definitely been the biggest pleasant surprise. And you're right. It's been a product of the new guys and the offensive line.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really, really good point about the O-line, and I think that's kind of what almost makes this conversation seem like a dream, is that we haven't had an O-line and we haven't had a run game for so long. So I think that combination is starting to come to fruition. Danny, what was? I mean, I'm not sure if you managed to watch the full game on Sunday, but what was it that you seen that seemed to just hit different?
So I caught all of the second half pretty much and missed the first half, but spammed the highlights afterwards just to double check I was up to date. And to be honest with you, something we've already we already briefly covered then is the O-line. In recent years, I have been extremely nervous every single time our quarterbacks had the ball. Obviously, Matt previously. But this time around, I don't immediately go into panic when we're attacking, and that's just a nice little relief. Of course, game's a little bit different because Mariota has got legs, in fairness to him, so he's making his own time as well as the O-line helping him out. But no, I just think that's a really reassuring point that we've not had the luxury of relaxing over for the last few years. Yeah.
Liam, I'm gonna come to you next. I'm gonna take a slightly different angle. So is Huntley's display on Sunday going to put him in a contention for a bit more of a two-punch approach? Do you think?
I think you have to. I think the way we run the ball and the way we want to run the ball, and obviously we're potentially losing a bit of confidence in Mariota is going to make us run the ball even more. You have to have more than one guy. Realistically, there's not many players in the league who can take that amount of snaps, one after the other. You need 1, 2, 3 guys, like you said, for Avery in there, like the odd time probably to do a certain type of play. But I think Huntley's going to have to play. Algier is obviously fresh into the league. He's not had he's never had a season or a game where he's consistently winning the ball time after time. So I think we're going to have to switch to keep them both fresh. That's how you do it in the modern game. Anybody that's got 2 useful running backs, they do tend to sort of use them. So usually one more than the other, but they always bring another guy in and just hit. That's what the Browns were trying to do to us. You saw obviously Chubb will run relentlessly, snap after snap. Then they bring Hunt in. Hunt takes 4 or 5 snaps, and then they freshen Chubb up and do the same again. And not to say that that's exactly what we're going to be able to do with those 2 guys, because they're both obviously potentially rookies in this in the way that they're trying to play. But I think they both run really hard and are really committed, and that's a huge positive for us in terms of having somebody who we can just slam into the, we don't have to be fancy with them. Like, we don't have to be massively creative to get them open. Just let them run hard. And if the O-line keeps up the performance that it has been doing so far, a running game can win you many, many games. It keeps you in a game. It moves the chains. It tires out the defense. It does so many things that are sort of underrated rather than just pure yards and touchdowns. That's not really what it is. Tiring out that defensive line and those linebackers having to constantly bring down a big unit of a guy, it wears on you. So it opens up further things for us in the passing game if we can actually start connecting on that.
And Carl, I want to come to you just in terms of obviously we've got Tom Brady and the Bucs coming up on Sunday. How do you think the running game is going to affect that game?
I think it depends on how we start off and how Mariota starts off again. Like on that drive, we had what you said, 14 in a row because he threw an interception just before that. Mariota seems to start games pretty well. He didn't. The first 2 games, I thought he started very well. He got his points straight away. But I think Saturday on Sunday was slightly harder, and then obviously he threw that interception at a sort of vital time that could have been pinnacle in the game. And then we hit 14 runs in a row, and then he scored a touchdown off it. I think it's going to be slightly different until with CP being out as well. He's got to trust these two, and I think he obviously does. But it's going to be a bit of a different strategic the way he's going to go about it again, I think. And with Browns, they had a few players out, but it still worked.
Yeah.
Bucs have conceded points. It's just one of them. I think depending how we start off and how Mariota starts off, it could go either way.
I think you've got a point there. And I think, I didn't want to say it first because I didn't want to be too obvious about it. And I also, we every time we talk about Mariota on the show, it seems to get us abused off random American people who aren't happy about what us silly Brits think. But just for clarity as well, I just want to confirm there is absolutely nothing receding about my hairline to the nasty person who was abusing us midweek. I think let's kind of address the elephant in the room. And I've been quite vocal about this. And again, I want to kind of bring Miles in first because Miles obviously being closer to the team and obviously, a bit closer to the feeling across the pond. And I'm gonna say the same thing that I've said for a couple of weeks. It feels like in the fourth quarter, Mariota can't be trusted to do basic football things, and there are instances in fourth quarters in every single game so far where he makes mistakes, and I don't know how long that can carry on for because I kind of feel like. I don't know. Like, is it a big risk, Miles, if Mariota is putting us in bad positions and us having to rely on the defense to win out the game? Is it that much of a big risk to bring Ridder in? I mean, against the Bucs defense, I would probably say yes, possibly. But I'm interested on your take.
That's certainly the question of the. That's certainly the question of the hour right now. I think, anyone, when you bring up Atlanta right now, it's the question, when's Ridder going to play? And you're right. They haven't exactly been winning because of Marcus Mariota. They're almost winning in spite of Marcus Mariota. And I can deal with the inaccuracies, like some of the missed throws that he's had. He's missed a couple throws this season. But you're right. It's the turnovers, and not only the turnovers, the timing of the turnovers. They're coming at extremely dangerous times where you absolutely cannot, like a guy this much of a veteran in the league cannot be turning the ball over. Like that's why you bring in a veteran, so he doesn't do that. So yeah, in that regard, it is troublesome. But at the same time, they are also not in any rush whatsoever to put Desmond Ridder in yet. In my opinion, based on the feel of this team, based on how Arthur Smith has reacted, Marcus Mariota would have to have an absolutely colossal, abysmal, just horrendous game for them to potentially put, like, I'm talking like a 3 interception type game for that to potentially happen. And, it's a tough line. I was actually on a couple of Falcons Spaces this week talking about this, where it's difficult because I think, as you guys know, the Falcons fan base is an extremely, extremely impatient fan base and very reactionary fan base. So, and you guys saw this with Kenny Pickett this past week. He gets his first start. He throws 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
The rookies are going to have a mistake. Desmond Ridder, when he goes in there, whenever that might be, it's bound to happen. He's a rookie, and it's okay to have a mistake. But at the same time, you've got to allow it to happen. Do I want that to happen against a Buccaneers team coming off, big loss to the Kansas City
Yeah.
Chiefs, and Tom Brady also potentially, don't know, reportedly maybe going through a divorce. Not quite the game I want to throw him into.
No.
But at the same time, you do want to see what you've got before this next draft, wherever you might be, because you don't want to take another quarterback if you have no idea what Desmond Ridder has to offer. So it's an extremely difficult time to sort of figure it out. But my opinion of it, I don't think we'll see it unless Marcus Mariota has just a game from hell.
Yeah. Do you think if Mariota performed in the same way, but we had lost those 2 games, well, would it be a different conversation? Are the results that we've got keeping him in the team?
Yeah, it would have been tough. The calls would have certainly been a lot louder. It's a lot easier to keep your guy in the game after he's won two in a row, and the team's 500 fighting for a first place spot. That's again why it's difficult to throw Desmond Ridder in right now when the team is fighting for a first place spot. So perhaps the calls, hindsight's always 20/20, so it's sort of difficult to assess what those calls might have looked like. But you're right. I said it before. They haven't exactly been winning because of Marcus Mariota. It's because of the run game and the defense making the stops when they have to.
I mean, I don't know about you boys, but it's nice to hear it from somebody else, because I've started to feel like I thought it was just me.
It is in one way, but then on the other hand, I was literally just going to follow it up with, as much criticism as we give him, it is nice to see every now and again he gets them yards on his own, and obviously that was never Matt's game, so it's a nice change in dynamic for us. I know he's not consistent, but it is a nice change to see what a consistent quarterback of a mobile style could do for us. Because
and to interrupt you guys really quick, I think the thing that's the most frustrating part for Falcons fans, seeing what this offense has been so far, you see how good it can be. You see the running game finally working. You see Drake London looking like a Rookie of the Year candidate. You see Kyle Pitts not really getting targets, and you throw in a quarterback who could potentially be really good. You don't know yet, but it just the whole idea of a really good quarterback. Yeah. I mean, this offense is already a top 5 rushing attack. What could it be with a really good quarterback?
Yeah,
I think similar to what Mark said, he's got a point of, well, if obviously we're not asking a lot of Mariota, really. We're not putting it down to him, are we? Obviously we've got a run game, so we're not asking a lot of him, but he's still making silly mistakes and making errors a little bit. I know if we were to put Ridder in, we're not going to put Ridder in and ask him to throw the ball 40, 45 times, are we? We'd probably carry on with a similar tactical plan, still run the ball heavy, and maybe obviously he would just throw when we need to and use his legs, similar to Mariota. That to me says obviously he could potentially carry on that, but maybe make smarter decisions than Mariota is making, and not put him up. We won't put him under massive pressure because we're not asking a lot of him. Yeah. But then again, would it be that much different than Mariota? I don't know. He might well be even worse.
I think. I mean, kind of like arcing back a little bit to what kind of you've all said so far, and I'm going to point this question at Carl. If Mariota has a bad game, right, and the Bucs defense ain't going to be in a good mood when they roll up on Sunday, and I was obviously we all like to see the Bucs lose, and I really like to see an unhappy face on Tom Brady. It makes me smile. It really fills my heart with so much glee. And I think my question is, well, the Bucs defense roll in after having their whole world upheaved because they did, right? They all got moved to Miami because of the hurricane, etc. And they were all living in hotels and glad everyone in that sort of facility was safe. But I guess when getting steamrolled by the Chiefs, who were also in a pretty foul mood, they're going to cut. They're going to be. They're not going to be. Taking our game on Sunday lightly. So my question is, if the Bucs turn up and they're after blood, You know, is this really the game that we want to see them make that decision on Mariota? I don't know. I mean, I've been calling for it for weeks, but at the same time, I don't want Desmond to get steamrolled either.
That's the technical issue, isn't it? Sorry, Cal, just to say with Mariota's injury record, I couldn't do it myself. Like, do you risk him or do you risk the rookie? That's disgusting. There's no right answer.
I think obviously we know the answers in it's Mariota's going to start no matter what. I think, but as a fan point of view, I think I get because it is the Bucs, you're thinking you've got to start him, and because how well our run game did this week,
yeah,
are we going, like I said earlier, are we going to prioritize the run game? It's Miles said we've got like the top 5, top 6 run game in the NFL, so we know we're going to prioritize that. But it's the plays where you know you've got to throw it is where that's where the fans get on his back, and it's simple. It's not like Liam said. We're not asking him to win every game. We're not asking him to do everything. We're asking him to do the basic stuff. Some of the overthrows you can sort of get away with, like Miles said. Some of them you are like it's simple throws, and that's where you can get the quick yardage. But like you said, Bucs are going to be in a foul mood. They're going to be. It's a division game. Whoever wins stays. Basically goes top, stays top. They want redemption on probably last week, absolutely getting mauled by the Chiefs, which was obviously good to see. But I wouldn't put him in, but it's one of them where if I don't know, it's longer. It's hard, right? Like Miles said, like, I've seen it on Twitter saying if we end up with a top 10 pick again and we can get a quarterback, but we don't really know what Ridder can do. Like when there's obviously they must know there's a certain time of the season they're gonna have to bring him in, except if we are playoff bound and Mariota's sort of picked up the pace and he's doing what he can do. But he's a third round pick. He's got high.
But he was a steal at a third round pick. I think that's what we have to remember. There wasn't that many quarterback hungry teams, were there? And everyone expected him and Malik Willis to go higher. And we were all sitting there on draft night, every single one of us going, "Is he good? Are they going to take QB? Are they going to take QB?" and I think it feels like with some of the noise that was coming out when Ridder was playing in preseason, Arthur likes him, but obviously, as Miles said, they're in no rush to blood him in. Marcus has still got another year to run on his deal after this. I think it's probably more likely that the time you see him get Shepard's crooked is probably next year, unless obviously, something injury or a really, really bad game happens. I know I've only got a couple of minutes left with you, Miles. So before our show descends into chaos, I just want to ask you your general opinion about what you think is going to happen Sunday. And what does it feel like in that press room right now? Arthur feels like he's biting back. Lorenzo Carter came out and this week and said, this team's got fight. There's no superstars, just where if it and harking back to when Arthur said about the media writing obituaries and stuff, it just feels like the team ethos is almost it's us against the world right now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if there's any label for this 2022 Falcons team, I'd say it's feisty. They're giving everybody they played trouble. And as far as expectations for this Sunday, I really this is going to be a pretty big measuring stick for me because you saw how they played. So you saw how they played against the Browns. The Browns are kind of, they don't have Deshaun Watson back yet. They missed Miles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney on the defensive side. So they were down a few players. And you look at the Saints, they're not looking very good. The Rams, they're not looking like the Super Bowl contender that we thought maybe they were. So this could potentially be a different benchmark for this team, because while Tampa also doesn't look as good as we've seen them in the past, they still have Tom Brady on that sideline. They're still going to be a contender as long as he's there. Mike Evans still looks phenomenal. So I think this will be a very interesting benchmark. If they're able to stay in this game like they stayed with the Rams, I mean, hopefully not in the same fashion where it's a blowout early and then you see a late comeback. But at the same time, if they're in this game into the fourth quarter, then I think that's a pretty good sign of things to come. I think it's that the Buccaneers are the team to beat in the NFC outside of perhaps the Packers or, you know, the 49ers maybe. It's all wide open right now, and it's still very early. But at the same, I mean, then you have the Eagles, of course. The Eagles are coming out of nowhere right now.
Of course,
yeah, but at the same time, it'll be a very interesting benchmark because this schedule was supposed to be one of the hardest in the NFL. And if they can come out of it 2-3, or, I mean, hopefully 3-2, then look out. This could be a very surprisingly fun season that I don't think any of us were expecting.
Yeah. And I think kind of one thing that I mention on the show every week, and I'll kind of continue to mention it, is a little bit like what Arthur said. You know, how many articles did we see at the beginning of the year that we were the worst roster in the NFL? You know, and
that was one thing too with the roster thing. I never bought into the fact that this was the worst roster in the NFL or that they would be the worst team in the NFL just because of the coaching staff. I think Arthur Smith is such a good coach that he was going to coach them out of, you know, all those 2-15 predictions. I never was buying into that. I think that was more of just national folks seeing that Atlanta doesn't have a franchise quarterback anymore and they just had Kyle Pitts. So I think in that regard it's different. But yeah, I mean, it's Arthur Smith is pretty feisty with the media. It's honestly kind of fun. I think we ourselves as the media kind of enjoy dealing with him because he's so blunt. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, no, that's sort of my views on that.
Awesome. Well, listen, Miles, if you need to shuffle off at any point, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for giving us this half hour of your time. Always wonderful to speak to you, and always good to hear what's going on that side of the pond. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, fellas. Thanks for having me on again.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you. So,
sorry, Mark, just to interject whilst we're changing topics, we've just had the weirdest comment, so I need to get it up. I don't even understand the context, or I don't understand.
I mean, I can't help but think that, like, whoever this fool is means, like, when is the show going to trade for him?
We'll try and get him on. That's the only.
Because if we're talking about hairlines, you know, like, I mean, he's definitely losing that battle as well.
I think we're more likely to go to Benedict Cumberbatch than Tom Brady, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, Cal, we got some replies to the post. I don't know if you want to maybe take them one at a time. If you can start us off. I haven't got the.
I'll get Has anyone got it up at the moment?
Yeah, I'm on. The first topic that we asked Cal, just so you're on the same page, is let's have a look. Oh no, there's a lot of Mariota. One sec, keep scrolling. So
okay,
find something.
That's okay. We've talked about it. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Keep going.
I think this is kind of the one show where we can be confident we can leave it there, because the option is that we put Desmond Ridder in front of that Bucs defense, and nobody wants us to do that.
No. Okay. One little one that I think could be quite interesting, because there was a few, not many, but enough to make it of comment, saying Dean Pease isn't what he used to be, is the general theme. Not in such polite words, but that's the gist. Okay. What do we all think about that? Obviously, I've not really got much prehistoric knowledge of his actual gameplay. I know what he's achieved, but I never witnessed much of it. So
So I'm sort of the same with Danny, but he's coming to a team where it's obviously a rebuild from last year, starting from last year. There's a lot of new players into the scheme he's dealing. I know a coach should be able to deal with sort of whatever, but it's a complete, like, even from this squad roster from this year to last year's, there's a lot of new players in it, and he's obviously working all the time to sort of figure out best plays, the best ways to do it. And I think weirdly, the fourth quarter defense last 2 weeks especially has been something I've never seen in my life. It's usually the first half where we're actually not that bad, and then it's usually dropped off in the second half. So everyone else, you're always gonna have your complaints, but like he's dealing with brand new players all the time, I feel like.
it feels like what we're actually better at doing this year is like don't get me wrong, you know, we are letting teams march down the field, but what we are doing, which we have never done before, is stopping people in the red zone.
Yeah,
and you know, that's kind of where I feel like we're keeping these games tight, because we're stopping touchdowns. Okay, we're allowing the 3 points, but that's given us the edge on keeping these games close. We're actually the only team in the NFL unbeaten against the spread. I don't know if either of you bet much football, but essentially, you know, like as far as betting's concerned, you know, that's if you bet on us all season, you'd be laughing. Now, I obviously don't know the stats. I feel like, again, we've kind of regressed in terms of talent on defense. I think some of the, you know, a big pick that, you know, for me, I was really excited about, Marlon Davidson, again, hasn't turned up. So we've got these kind of pieces on the defensive line that's not really giving us the penetration that we want. AJ he had another phenomenal game against one of the best wide receivers in the league. Allowed Amari Cooper 1 catch for 9 yards, I think that was it. Absolutely all over him. I don't think that that Dean Pease doesn't have it anymore. I think that, you know, it and again, you know, I'm not going to say I've been watching it for as long as Dean Pease has been coaching. The man's been coaching longer than I've been alive. But you know, for me, it doesn't really feel like a regressionary piece where we're not a worse defense than we were last year. I would probably argue we're slightly better. I think Ebiketie and those defensive draft picks seem to be doing pretty good as far as I can see.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand why people say it, because we do seem to be letting teams march down the field, but, you know, red zone defense is ultimately all that matters, and I feel like we're getting better at that. So I can't see a Dean Pease regression, but, you know, Liam might have a different view, I guess.
I mean, it's hard to call it a regression, because his major successes were just so long ago, like that. You know, he's won like 2 Super Bowls or whatever, but I mean, it's just a long time ago, with very different game now, different players, different tactics, different teams. There's a lot of changes, and you know, I think people obviously look at his age and just see him as an old school guy, and maybe some of the stuff that he used to scheme doesn't work anymore, and that probably is true. But I think, you know, he's getting some decent results out of some okay players, like we've seen some of the, you know, like the safeties, obviously some of the linebackers that we maybe like, we're not high picks, or we're not people who were thinking we're going to be standout star players, but we're getting decent results out of them. While, yeah, we are having some botched plays where we just look a little bit lost. I don't think you can instantly put that down to the coordinator, because that would be something that would happen on a more regular basis. I think, you know, whether he's, you know, I don't think, again, because we know he retired twice. He retired twice or 3 times already. He's already retired 2 or 3 times. I don't think he's around for the long term, really. No. Even no matter what he says, I know he's passionate and everything. I don't think he's around for the long term. He'll probably retire again. Might well come back again. But I don't think he's like, you know, the answer. But I don't think we can just sort of blame him for anything really at the moment. He's certainly not my concern, or something that I keep looking at thinking, oh my God, we're never going to win anything with Dean Pease. I think if we had the right personnel, we would have a chance of doing so, and the offense was firing. I think he could deliver results. But yeah, I think everyone just looks at old guys, don't they, and goes, you're old, that means you're old school. You don't know what you're doing anymore. Straight away, that's what people will say. But, you know, with Bill Belichick, like, you know, people can say the same thing about him, like he was old school and he doesn't know what he's doing anymore, and he did. He definitely did. So I don't think an age is a factor.
I think one thing that we need to kind of acknowledge on this one is that defense is nastier.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
You know, we are getting to the quarterback more than we've seen in a long time. We are intercepting balls. You know, we are physical.
Yeah.
And like, you know, we haven't seen that in a long time. And I think you know, kind of harking back to what Miles said earlier on, right? You know, we can be quite overreactionary as a fan base from time to time. And it's very, very easy to have that overreaction, I think, when games are close, games are tense, teams are coming down the field, and we're taking, you know, games to the last play, and the defense is digging us out of it. You know, you could argue, well, yeah, but if the defense had been that nasty earlier on, then the game might not be so close. But we've got to take the rough with the smooth here, guys, right? You know, and harking back again to what we said earlier on, this Sunday is going to be a yardstick, right?
Absolutely.
And none of us are really going to walk away from getting a pumping off an angry Bucs team. None of us are going to walk away really that angry, are we? Like this is.
Yeah.
It depends what it comes down to, doesn't it? Like, I don't want to mention the same problem again, but if there's a certain guy that fucks up easy plays and you're thinking, if we scored there or you're in the red zone, you took like the other day when we had that, we only had with a field goal. It was on their 1 yard line and we got made further back, and that was bad play calling for me as well, to be fair. But that was where it would have ended the game for me. That was vital.
Well, so
they have a better. The defense is better, and it's obviously our offense is pretty good this year, especially the run game, and it's getting the points early on the board for me because we know what they can run away.
So if we take the Bucs close, and I'm going to ask all three of you this because I want to answer off you. We take the Bucs close, right, and we lose, right? Bucs defense does what it does and makes it a tough game, right? You know, they've got, for me, the least mobile running back in the NFL. There's a reason that the guys from around the NFL podcast called Leonard Fournette Battleship Lenny.
Yeah.
Because a massive battleship can turn quicker than that man. So, you know, there's definitely areas we can exploit. If it's a close game and we lose, I can swallow that. If it's poor execution from Mariota again, then do you know what it is? We're going to be sitting here next week, boys, and we're going to have the same old Marcus Mariota conversation. But we're not really going to be down if we've taken the Bucs to a close game. And I think that's kind of where we just all have to accept that, you know, let's see how we get on this week. If it's a close game, then that for me already is a positive because it's Tom Brady, because it's the Bucs defense, you know, and if we can keep Battleship Lenny from going in the end zone, that would be wonderful as well.
I said this to Danny against, I think it was just before the Rams are like, after the first quarter, I said if we get blown out by the Rams at that point, like, fair enough, they're the better team overall, just won the Super Bowl, you can't complain. But because we then brought it back and it was like, this is a game where you could have won or you had a good chance to win, and that's where you forget about a lot of the game and you go to the important bits that are obviously that can change the game. And Mariota was obviously part of that. Not just him, like our defense at times was absolutely shambles, but you've got to score points to win the game.
Yeah, and I think Paul just made a really good point down below. Brady took a big hit this past week. You know, kind of brushed it off in the press conference. Yeah, but rotator cuff injury. If you're a quarterback, that's a big fucking injury.
He said he'll be all right, but
and you expect that? Listen, you know, I don't like the guy either, but you know, he the dude's a competitor, but if he can't throw, that means that it's going to be down to us to stop the run. So which we kind of feel like we've been doing well enough. So
the Bucs ran against the Chiefs. The Bucs ran for 3 yards the whole game. So
Battleship Lenny.
he didn't even contribute. He contributed. They actually ran for 6 yards. He contributed -3 to make it only 3. So I think obviously they only did like 6 attempts to get 3 yards. They didn't run the ball basically at all. But that for me is where it's a case of Brady obviously plays, but it's the case of where we've got to make him beat us and not beat ourselves. That's going to be the key.
Yeah.
Because Brady I know they lost to the Chiefs, but Brady was awesome. Like he passed for like 77% and 390 yards and 3 touchdowns or something ridiculous like that. He was unbelievable. But we have to make him do that again. And obviously, we know you've got obviously Godwin and Evans, and just if they go out and just beat us because they're very good players, then fair enough. Then it is difficult to handle those guys when they're on form. Yeah. But we just can't make silly mistakes and do silly things.
I can handle Mike Evans. I can't handle
personally. You can handle him.
I can handle Mike Evans scored against us. I can't handle Russell Gage.
No. I think with Godwin back now, I think he's going to see a little bit less of the ball, which is probably
which is probably easy.
Yeah, we don't want to see him score. But
okay, cool. So I think we're all agreed on the defensive point from the thread. Cal, what else have we got?
Oh God,
there's some in the comments as well, mate. If you want to go,
okay,
just so we can juggle between the two.
I want to bring up. We only did about a bit about AJ again, but just for another mention about him because the first 2 games sort of played all right, but the last 2 against Metcalf and fucking hell, who was it on Sunday?
Amari Cooper
as well. The yardage that he allowed was something to nothing again. So another 2 great weeks, and I'm thinking he's finding that partnership in the backfield again with new players in front of him. The only downside about proper against the defense this week was Michael Walker, who's I fucking rated. He's still very good. He's just had one of them. Everyone has an off week, missing them tackles in the middle, and he had a very poor week. But I'm sure next week he'll bounce straight back from that.
Well, what a week to bounce back.
I think AJ's done pretty well overall. Like I think he got hyped up quite a lot, didn't he, in terms of what we were expecting and or what people were expecting. But he's actually, if you looked at him against other corners in the league, apart from the odd sort of mistake, he's not been bad by any stretch. We're just putting him down because of what the expectation was.
Didn't we keep getting told at the beginning of the season that Jalen Ramsey was the best corner in the NFL?
Yeah, and he's been a mess for a
while. I mean, you can smell so much toast at the Rams Stadium. The sideline probably thinks it's having a stroke. So like, I'm sorry, but again, he's gone up against. I think in all 4 games he's gone up against really, really high-profile receivers, and look, every player always, can't always have the game of his life. But again, it was a decent day against DK, who's a handful, and there's a big size difference there. But against a dude like Amari Cooper, who is such an all-rounder wide receiver, to allow him, 8 yards or something, 1 catch. I think that's
he was coming off.
So I don't really think we've got any worries there. I think one thing that's probably worth saying is I don't think Casey Hayward has lived up to the hype.
No, I was going to bring him up. To be honest, I think what is he, 32, 33? Is he? Again, for me, the apart from the odd one, corner is a position where age actually looks good quickly, and when you get to that sort of age, you haven't got the younger corners and they're coming up against these wide receivers now that can just do it all. I just don't think he's quite got enough to go against a lot of them. He's not. I don't think he's a bad corner.
No, I don't. No, I don't. But
and
I think we kind of we were almost lulled into a false sense of security, weren't we, when Casey signed? And obviously, the dude has balled out his entire career, but he's probably at that age now where has regressed slightly. I think we all probably just went, oh, good, we've got another good corner now on the other side of the field, so we don't need to worry about it. And I think that's possibly where we're seeing a little bit of a weakness.
Yeah.
But yeah, and to Carl's point, Mika will be back 100%,
without a doubt. Just whilst we got a little pause, we got some tasty comments. Liam, there's one about your hairline. I don't know what we're referring to here.
She's post cut today as well.
Fresh as anything.
I won't be receiving until I'm 80.
And we got a very nice one here, which is bang on, because me and Cal are yet to see a winning season. I don't know about you, Mark and Liam. I can't remember what date she started supporting, but this is 4.
Been a while, but
season 4, and we're all 3 are down so far. So we took the
That's a nice comment.
2008, so I've seen a few winning seasons, but
yeah, not too bad. And then we've got one that I'm going to flash for about half a second, then get rid of it with no further comment. Maybe just for a snippet. Clip
that depends on what perspective you look at it from. If you're a Saints fan or a Bucs fan, he probably is.
Was there another comment underneath it that said at trying to throw the game in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, we got. I think I'm going to take it that most of the positive Mariota comments are definitely sarcastic. There are some supporters of him still, but I don't think there are that many left.
Yeah, the comments on the live aren't great either.
I mean, I think I do think we need to kind of draw a line under it, and it doesn't help that most of us manning the account are usually drunk by the time that the game runs around on Sunday, and usually very drunk by the time that Marcus does try to throw the game at whatever point he tries to do it in the fourth quarter. Let's just hope that next week we're not saying the same
thing. I've got one here. I'm going to require some more NFL knowledge than I have.
When?
No context, no background, just black and white.
Okay. I mean, hasn't the dude been injured for like 2 weeks? Like, okay. I mean, like we've got loads of salary cap next year. Fucking start playing, and we'll pay you $30 million. Like I don't know what to say to that. Like, no, I mean, again, he was another one. Like we took him in the off season. It was like, again, low risk, but everyone said the dude can ball. And I haven't seen a lot yet, so no.
I mean, the value that would, well, obviously not in terms of the return, but he was what? He's like, what is he, 24? So he's not very old still. Like he's obviously.
He's like 20. I thought he was like 26. No.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not. He's certainly
still not old. I mean,
not old overall, and we're paying him like his contract was like absolutely next to nothing that we're currently paying him. So I think he has quite a bit of ability. He's not really able to show it yet, but I don't think anybody thought that I'm aware of that anybody thought we were bringing him in expecting big things and a big future. I didn't think he was ever really aimed to be that guy. Obviously, we're relying on sort of London, and I don't know what's going to happen with obviously if we're going to sign another one with Ridley leaves and sort of draft again. I don't know. We probably do need another receiver. How we deal with it, I'm not sure yet. But these two, Edwards and Baird and so on, were just kind of keep it moving sort of guys, weren't they? As far as I'm concerned. But I think I'm not going to say that Mariota's got no weapons because I think London and Pitts are two very good weapons. And Zacchaeus, he does his thing every week, doesn't he? Kind of sort of under the radar a little bit. So we've definitely got weapons there to sort of work around. I think people were going crazy about our receiving core before the season, saying that's awful and we've got nobody. I mean, it was pretty decent when you look at like the Patriots and things like that. Who they've got to throw to. There's nobody there. So I think we're in a decent position there with with the two main guys being very, very young still. Yeah, there's a lot to build off.
So I'm just putting it out there. I just had a quick little look to see what free agents are out of contract next season.
Oh, go on, hit us.
So tell me you wouldn't pay this man. Quentin Nelson from Indianapolis.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what he's going to warrant.
He'll be one of the most expensive. Is he left guard or right guard?
Left guard, I think usually. Yeah.
So
he's in a week run blocker. He's unbelievable at opening gaps. So.
You've also got Roquan Smith from the Bears, linebacker.
Yeah,
he's another one.
Heavy, but that's been a talking point heavily in the comments and stuff as well, saying linebackers are something that everybody's not really satisfied with. So, where do you throw your money?
You got Yannick Ngakoue, who's also at Indianapolis. You also got now these are two interesting ones, chaps. Tony Pollard from Dallas, at running back, or a Mr. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean,
if you tell me you're telling me Saquon wouldn't fit that system, then you're drunk.
I think that the Giants are gonna, based on what will happening this season, they're not going to be letting him go very quickly. Obviously, if he gets injured again, then maybe, but you
never know. We got cap space, baby.
I think Pollard, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I think Pollard is trending towards being the number one back in Dallas.
Zeke's a car crash,
Yeah, so he'd be in demand, but probably from Dallas themselves as well. But if they carry on with Zeke, Tony Pollard's doing his business like he is, he's probably going to go, well, sack it, I'll go and get a number one spot somewhere else. The potential that he's available.
What I'm saying is we've got options in the off-season, boys. We've got options.
My biggest fear with that is it's been so long since we've had an absolute bag to spend that we're just going to get
never in my time. Never in my time. Well, listen, I mean, if this is what Arthur and Terry can do on a shoestring, then
Yeah, exactly.
It's like being a Newcastle fan, boys.
Just whilst we're talking about trades and transfers, and let's get this delightful one up, which I hope's with a little bit of jest. And he followed it up very, very nicely with
right.
Just so you need to know if you're going to go for it.
Kamara's going to be in jail. Nobody's taking Thomas.
I'm barred from speaking about him.
And nobody's going to convince me that he's a top 20 receiver. I mean, never mind top 10.
No.
And those other two motherfuckers, leave me alone. I would rather they signed Danny and Carl to play linebacker than.
I will give it my best shot, man.
I know you will. That's why I want you instead of them. So yeah, Rodney and Dougal can pop off back to Louisiana, where they obviously come from, and we'll leave that at that. So, is there any other burning talking points from the tweet?
Let's have another. Oh, Yeah, pretty obvious one that we've briefly touched on really early on with Miles, but kind of overlooked the current ineffectiveness of Pitts. Or I don't know if ineffectiveness is a harsh term, maybe, but current usage, should I say?
Well, I think they obviously got him involved in the Seattle game, and many fans argued, well, when you get him involved, you win games. Now, I think that probably holds some truth. I think this week against the Browns, Arthur Smith seen that the Browns had a weakness and exploited it, which is how you win football matches. You exploit the weakness of the team in front of you. So you don't just throw it to Kyle Pitts because you're trying to win the game. You win the game by outplaying the other team, and the Browns' weaknesses continue to be on that line. So I wouldn't say this week it was not necessarily ineffectiveness. Not to go over old ground, but I'm going to put this out to you. Or did we run the ball because it was the best thing to do against the Browns, or did we do the ball to make sure Mariota didn't fuck up anymore?
Second one.
Well,
the second one.
172 yards in the second half alone. That without our primary running back, I think there's only one outcome, isn't there? There's only one.
Well, so in which case, is it Kyle Pitts' ineffectiveness, or is it actually the fact that we have a QB that can't maximize his potential?
Yeah.
I think maybe. I think the counter would be that obviously,
I
although he's I wouldn't say he's been.
I don't know about you, but like Liam, what do you think? I reckon we throw the ball a bit more this week.
I think people would say that the way London has started was obviously very good overall. He obviously wasn't that effective on Sunday, but overall he's been very good. And he's had the same guy throwing to him that Pitts would have thrown to him. So I think he's not to say that he can't find a guy, because he has been able to find London, the case at the odd time, Parker Hesse. But I think I don't think there's a point of just throwing him the ball at every opportunity just because he's Kyle Pitts. Like, there's no point of doing that. If he's drawing a lot of attention and that's opening London and the like up, then that's sort of just as effective indirectly anyway. But he should be a red zone guy. I think even if he's double covered or he's got a top corner on him, the guy's just got a range and a height and everything, a turn that is just not normal for a tight end. So really, I think that's when we should certainly be using him as a sort of very much a primary target. Just let him go up and get it, because he can go. He's absolutely got the ability to do so. We seem to be trying to throw to some strange targets when we get to the end zone. But I won't say I'm massively concerned about it, because it's he's not dropped off or anything. He's still, you don't just drop off like after one season as a rookie, a 21-year-old. It doesn't really happen. So he's still got all the abilities that he needs to be a huge success. We just need to utilize it better with a better quarterback, I think, is the answer.
I said this when I went on the Cleveland Browns UK podcast before last week's game, and I said with the best will in the world, one of the reasons that Pitts came out as the unicorn, Kyle Trask at the Gators didn't have anyone else worth throwing to. And at times, it was very much a case. Kyle Trask, who ironically is on the Bucs right now, so we may well see him on Sunday if Brady's hurt his shoulder, is there were so many times the Gators coming through college, because I watched so much Pitts film on the lead up to that draft because it was obvious we were going to take him. And there were so many times, chaps, I shit thee not, where the geezer just went, fuck it, I'm going to throw the ball down the field, Kyle Pitts out there somewhere. Yeah. And you can't do that in the NFL, and we know that, right? I don't, and I don't know what you guys think, but Cal, are you concerned?
I don't think I'm concerned with him at all. I think it's more just the quarterback throwing into him and the sort of the plays that were sort of getting called at certain times. You can see from last year that Matt Ryan, who's obviously a miles better thrower of the ball, finds him and he gets over 1,000 in his first season. I don't think there's a problem with Pitts at all. Maybe there's obviously a bit. He's still learning, he's still growing. He's only his second year in the NFL, so he can get better. But when you've got someone throwing the ball a yard over his head every time, he can't catch everything, can he? And
which is quite high as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big dude.
He's a big lad.
And he's obviously getting double coverage a lot as well. He's in the O-line quite a bit. He's obviously doing his sort of he's
still blocking as well. Like, I mean, we sang the praises of the O-line. He's contributing to that.
So no, I don't have any really concerns with him. It's just more the guy who's throwing him the ball. But that's for another. That's until next week's show.
But isn't it frustrating, right? It doesn't, like, we keep going through these points, and unfortunately, as much as we're really trying not to, it is all coming back to that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the only negative that really anyone's focusing on at the moment, right? Because there isn't that many other major negatives to talk about, which is good.
Yeah, it makes
but it's quite a big one in terms of the position is rather important in the game.
Fuck it, I've changed my mind there now. It's winner time, baby.
Well, I actually think it's Felipe Frank's time, so fuck you,
Oh man, dude's a waste of a roster spot.
There was a few comments saying that, and they're all pretty popular with the likes as well. Bit of a brought in as a Swiss Army knife and turned out to be
not used as well.
A fucking plastic spoon. I don't know. It's not working.
Somebody runs it. Just let the guy run and
yeah, just see what happens.
Okay, so I think we got most of the general gist of the comments.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to Sunday. Let's have a little prediction time, shall we?
Prediction time.
Okay.
I'll go first. Fuck.
I mean, you just dominated yourself. You can't go, oh, fuck, after you say, I'll do it.
I'm not gonna say we're gonna win, but I don't think I said we were gonna beat the Browns either. So if we keep it that, you never know. I think they'll score a lot. I'm gonna go 38-25.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's just gonna be. I think it depends on how we start. I think it's the first drive we've got to score, and I think that's what we have been doing straight away, which is a positive. Even if it is the first drive, at least we're getting on the board.
In every game this year, I'm back in this. I'm back in on my London commute now, so I'm all I'm doing is listening to podcasts. And the Bucs have allowed a touchdown on every single first drive this season.
Why would you say that out loud? Because you know what's going to happen this time around now. I mean, we've not started horrendously all the time, so why not? Fuck it. Let's keep that pattern going. I'm going to go with 27-23 Falcons. We're coming off the back of 2 wins. We're playing pretty tidy overall, bar a few jarring moments, so I'm going to stick to the boys.
Cool. Liam? Here he comes. Ready to shit on our parade.
Yeah.
Go on, Liam.
I just can't look past the.
You said we were going to get beat last week. Come on, bring it.
No, and we didn't. So I'm gonna stick with that tactic and say that we're going to get beat again. 32-21. I can't see how we limit that offense to below 28 points. Can we put up more than that? Probably not. Not if we have to chase the game. That's the key. If we have to chase the game, we're in trouble because Mariota has to chase the game. Then we're in trouble. If we can get ahead, we've got a chance. But I think it's going to be a case of we have to at least stay close to them where we can still run the ball as an option. If we get to the point where we're sort of 2-3 touchdowns behind, you don't want to put it up against that defense, which we know that defensive line is going to be coming.
Yeah.
If they're going to stop the run more better than the Browns did, they're going to be coming at Mariota better than the Browns did without Garrett. Therefore, Mariota's going to have to do something. And can he do enough to outplay Brady with his main weapons back? Probably not. But we've been gritty these last couple of weeks. We've fought out performances where we've not expected. We've had some stars come out of nowhere. We might get another. AJ might shut down Evans or Godwin or whoever they put him on. There's a chance. Slim. There's a chance.
I'll take that.
I think it's gonna be another close game. I think we're gonna continue to run close games. And I called a close game last week, and I was right. I can't remember what score prediction I gave, but it was in the 20s. So I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna say we win 24-21. And it's a cool field goal that seals it once again. Ooh. By the way, another one that we sing the praise of every week. Yeah. The dude is still absolutely mustard, and if you haven't drafted him in your fantasy team, you are absolutely mentally ill. But I'm gonna stick to my guns, and I say it every week. I think we're gonna win. And I genuinely do think that we've got the ability to do it. I don't, as much as I think the Bucs are going to come back with a bit of fire. And yes, okay, Godwin's back, but he's still fresh off an injury. They haven't got anyone else apart from Mike Evans. I trust AJ to shut him down.
Yeah.
So I think no, Mark, not 49-2. I'm trying to work out if Mark was a troll and trying to get to 28-3 or whatever. But I can't say that. So yeah, I think 24-21. And I fancy Huntley to bag a TD again this week.
Okay, I'll take that. Just coming off the back of this then, why don't we start a little Twitter thread series? Now we're 4 games into the season. Every week we'll actually note down our scores.
Okay, cool.
A point for the result as in the outcome of the game, and a million points if you get the actual score right. So
let me just stick it in our chat so that you can put it down. So I had 24-21.
I remember it. 23.
Yes.
38-25.
38-25.
Fuck Liam.
32-21.
And
Nigel's going 23-21 to the Bucs. And Danny.
27-23 to the Falcons.
23. Cal, just double checking. That's 38-25. Are you saying we're going to lose?
Yeah.
No.
If Mariota could put 38 points on board, fuck me.
Stunning.
Well, I didn't know if I didn't know what was in that glass.
Half vodka, I think.
Cool.
Lovely.
Anything else that we want to chat about before we close the show?
That's pretty much me covered, to be honest, talking point wise. I mean, we can plug our little Discord chat that started to go off. I will link that after the show on our Twitter if anyone's interested. We've got all sorts of people and some brilliant takes and some really, really horrendous takes, but everybody's it's a good bunch of people, so it's been a laugh so far. So yeah, if anyone wants to join that, I will post the link on our Twitter afterwards, and of course hit subscribe if you want to see more stunning shows with all of our faces.
And I just want to quickly shout out before we close the show as well. and I need to give some kudos this week to Danny and Carl, who obviously started this page, started this show, and we found out this week that we are actually, in terms of UK fan page numbers, we are 8th out of the entire NFL franchise, which is wild when you consider that some of these franchises, although we are one of the older franchises, we don't seem to have the numbers that other franchises do, and we are currently 2,000 followers away from the Dallas Cowboys, which is wild considering how big the Cowboys are over here. So first of all, thank you. Second of all, massive big up to the hard work and the foundations that Danny and Carl laid for this show and this page and this group, because I think that's unreal. And thirdly, there's no receding hairlines around here, motherfuckers. So if you want to keep turning up every week and abusing us because we don't like Marcus Mariota, you can get fucked. Okay, clip that shit. All right. And if that hasn't offended you, by all means, share it to your friends and tell us to drop them.
We'll quit that.
That's me done for this week, chaps. Unless you want.
Yeah, no, I was just going to echo that. I'd just like to thank Mark and Liam for jumping on with us. Me and Cal just could not uphold this anymore. We needed more opinions and more input. So I think we've finally got that. And as the season carries on, we'll hopefully dip into new ideas and more content and stuff like that. We've got clips going out of our shows now to bait you all into our horrible takes, and hopefully we'll get some more players and media names on and things like that. So yeah, thank you to you.
If the season carries on well, we need to do a meetup before the end of the year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we'll try and find somewhere nice, and we'll get another get together going unofficially but officially.
And we can all be miserable together.
Suggestions on Twitter as well for anybody who got any topics that we want to discuss that maybe a little bit off the norm. We'll consider any of them within reason. But yeah,
sounds good to me. But no, other than that, thank you all for watching. The comments have been heavy tonight. Everyone's been chatting waffle with each other. Most of them don't make any sense at all, but neither do we. So it's absolutely fine. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching live. Of course, this will be up on YouTube literally half an hour after the show is finished. So thank you to anyone that has persisted through watching this not live, because that must drag sometimes.
Picture on 3-2, baby.
Woo! Right, thank you everyone, and we will catch you next week when we are, like Mark said, sitting at 3-2. See you all later.
Yeah, bye.